What's up, guys? I'm here with Kam Gibson. Kam, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me on the show, Doug.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming, man. This has been super cool. It's kind of to give the viewers, so listeners actually, both now. That's exciting. We've got the YouTube coming in this episode.
Yes, sir.
But I'm excited to have you on the show because, I don't know, you can talk about it a little bit, but a couple weeks ago, I was actually on your podcast. So talk to us about that real quick before we get into it.
Yes, sir. Me and Doug had a podcast for my class, Radio 2. Me and Doug talked about ambition in mind, you know, how the brand was started, the stepping points, what's the next journey for ambition in mind. I know Doug was a great businessman, Doug has a great head on his shoulders. He's always focused. He's always a determined person. And I felt like it was a great episode for me just to talk with Doug, to dive deep down in his mind, the things he think about, the ambition in mind, really.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I enjoyed it. You're good, man. You got a little, you know.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to step my game up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
and so you're a communications major. This is your junior year at Western. And so that's kind of something you might even get into a little more, right? The podcast.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I was really inspired by Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. You know, like the All the Smoke podcast.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and more podcasts I really watch. JJ Redick, Duncan Robinson. A lot of NBA players do a lot of podcasts, and I like hearing the stories behind the court. Just stories like on the bus, just personal stories. So that's what really made me dive deep into podcasts.
I love that, and that's so true. I think the personal stories are something people want to hear. People want to hear people's stories, their backgrounds, the experiences they've gone through.
Right.
And that's why I'm excited to have you on today, is because you have some incredible stories. I think you've had some incredible experiences in your life, but especially here at Western. And I know what you've been through here can definitely help a lot of people.
Oh, yes, sir.
So let's go ahead and jump in, bro. I just want to talk to you a little bit about. So tell the viewers and listeners a little bit about your story and, how you got to Western.
For my story of me getting to Western, I started out in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where I'm from, born and raised. I always played basketball, sports since I was a younger kid. The crazy thing is, my first sport, first love really was baseball. So when I first grew up, I would just love playing baseball because me and my teammates were very close. Friars Club, shout out to my boys. We were very close, and it just seemed like every time we were with each other, it was always fun. That was the first team I really hung out with, outside of sports. So started with baseball, and then I want to say around middle school, I started getting recognized for basketball a little bit. I want to say I was named to the top 100 middle schoolers in Ohio. So after I got named to that, it was just I might have a future in this. I might need to take it a little more serious. So in high school, I went to Walnut Hills. My freshman year, I first came in. I played under Coach Ricardo Hill, a great coach, a great person in my life. He's always had my back. He's always taught me things. He was hard on me, but it was hard on me for the right reason because, he loved me. He always wanted me to be better. So my freshman year at Walnut Hills, I played with national champion from Baylor Bears, Maceo Teague.
That's awesome.
I played with him my freshman year, so I learned a lot from him. I mean, he really helped me stay focused and really gave me the blueprint on if I want to take basketball serious and I want to take it to another level, then how much time I should put in it, how hard I should work and stuff like that. Because Maceo, that's one thing about him, he's a hard worker. Mm-hmm. That's one of the most hard-working dudes I know. So I made it to Walnut Hills, played 4 years there. I was really under-recruited in high school. A lot of schools around me in Ohio weren't really recruiting me. A lot of schools everywhere weren't really recruiting me. And then I want to say my senior year, I had a good senior season. I averaged 20 points. I want to say 5 rebounds, 3 assists my senior season going into college my freshman year. So after that season, I had a lot of visits and coaches come in talking to me. And I want to say Monty Sanders was recruiting me from Western Carolina.
Yes, sir.
So after Coach Sanders was recruiting me, then Coach Rack, Coach Prosser, all of them came and visited me at my high school and watched me work out. After that workout, they offered me. I took my visit, and then boom, I committed right on the visit. And now I'm here at Western.
Now you're here, man. I'm glad you are. I want to dive into a little bit more about your journey here at Western because it's been a crazy journey. But before we really get into that, talk about the transition from playing high school basketball. Like you said, you've been around some good players in Ohio, and I know you've got a couple buddies in the NBA right now that you played with. But talk about playing on that level with those kind of guys, coming to Western Carolina in the middle of the mountains in North Carolina with a new coaching staff, and just talk about that transition period.
The transition from high school to college, I would say it was very different because in the NCAA and college game, you know, it's a lot of people that's not the same as you, not recognized, but they're very good players. So when I came to Western, I met a lot of my teammates that I really never heard of before, I really wasn't familiar with, but they were great players. And the college game was very different. You know, it's faster, more physical. The scheduling is different. Like in high school, I rarely lifted, really. I mean, I would lift if it was planned, but I really didn't lift it like on my own.
Right.
So, you know, the lifting schedules, the workouts, you really got to get your body used to college. And it was very, I would want to say, the transition, like just the lifestyle, I had to really get used to. But the gameplay, I mean, basketball is basketball. I like having fun. So I was learning, but I was still just getting better throughout the process with my teammates, you know, learning from coaches, teammates, people that already been here, did a couple games, stuff like that. So it was pretty nice.
Yeah, you know, I would say I'd say you had a pretty smooth transition. Just kind of going over some of your freshman year stats. Yeah. I mean, you were named SoCon all freshman team, averaging 13.6 a game. You ended up pulling in 435 points your freshman year with a career high at SMU at 34 points. So I'd say you had a pretty smooth transition.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I came in with Carlos Dotson, Arno Steger, Matt Halverson. You know, those guys are like vets to me. They already played a lot of years in college, so it was just really just fitting in my system, fitting in the system, fitting in my role, and just, you know, performing my role to the best. And that freshman year, I guess my role was just to score and just, you know, try to get my teammates involved.
Well, you did a good job. You did it at a high level. Obviously, your stats speak for that, but I'm just getting to see you play. I mean, you could tell there was something different about you when you stepped on the court, and just the way you were so skilled but yet so young in the game. It was exciting to see, and I think a lot of people, you know, speaking for myself, but you know, people watching knew you had a lot of potential at that point when they saw you freshman year. But let's fast forward a little bit. You know, you had a great year freshman year, and then we get into sophomore year. You play and you start every single game, the first 17 games of the season up until that game. So go ahead and tell everybody kind of what happened sophomore season and kind of how it affected your trajectory.
Oh, yeah. Sophomore season, we started off very good. I mean, we started off with some tough games right out the jump. Georgia, Florida State, the Florida shirts we had.
That was crazy.
You know, yeah. So we started out pretty tough, but, you know, our team was very good. I mean, we all were together. It was just like that year, our team chemistry and everything was just clicking. So I was just really excited just playing with you guys, playing with my teammates, you know, making a change. Keep going.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah. You know, I was very excited playing with my teammates, playing with you guys, you know, making a change in Western culture. As you can see, we kind of shifted the culture a little bit. And then I want to say not too many games into conference, I would say. ETSU at home. 2 minutes into the game, I caught the ball, I want to say on the wing, driving into the middle, going up for a pull-up jumper, and then I just felt the pop in my leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I felt the pop, this is like my first serious injury. So I felt the pop. I already knew it was something serious, but then it was just really keeping my head on track, staying positive, you know, just really thinking about what's next. Because when I first did it, I already knew it was going to be a major injury. I was probably going to be out the season because I never experienced this in my body before.
Right.
So I want to say a week or so passed, and then you guys were at Mercer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys were at Mercer, and I stayed back, and then I got the call. I tore my ACL meniscus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's man, it was hard to watch, and I felt for you. I mean, you put in so much work up to that point. Like you know, it's hard to say nobody deserves that, but you certainly did not deserve that. And that was tough to see. I want to talk about your mindset during that period, because I think a lot of people initially think, okay, you had a season-ending injury, but it obviously affected you physically. But talk about how it affected you mentally, because I think that's a piece of it that people don't really talk a lot about?
Oh yeah, it affected me mentally. I would say, just really, you can't play the game you love anymore. Like everybody has like a escape distraction from the real world, and you kind of like focus like yourself and like your goals to that distraction. So I would say basketball is like my distraction, like my fun, like my fun place from the real world. So after I experienced that injury, it was kind of, I would say, not really heartbreaking because after it happened, I just always stay positive. That's one thing about me. I always stay positive. I don't focus on a lot of the negatives. I really don't focus on negatives because, there's so much in the world to focus on. What's the reason to focus on something negative that could just bring you down when you can always look at the positives, but that's like a building stone from that and just keep building on top of that. So after I experienced the injury, it was kind of, for a couple of days, I was really hurt. Like, dang, I can't play anymore. I can't play with my teammates, why did it have to happen to me, stuff like that, like
Right.
those type of thoughts. But then it was really like the injury really showed me like it's just a bigger purpose. Like, my injury is not really going to affect how I'm going to move or how my attitude is going to be on the daily. So after I experienced the injury, I always just like stay on the sideline. It was tough watching from the sideline because, I'm a player. I love playing. So it was just really uplifting my teammates, finding different ways to, help the team, different ways to, help guys that I know, like if they're struggling, I could go talk to them, stuff like that. And it was just really helping me, sit back and realize like life is bigger than basketball. The ball is, everybody love basketball, everybody love playing, but the ball's gonna stop bouncing one day. So I always, was grateful. That really helped me find like how grateful I am to play, how grateful I am for the opportunity I was in. And once I get back healthy, I can, what can I say? Once I get back healthy, I can, dominate, come back, and just take advantage of the opportunity that was, granted to me by God. But throughout those times, I always looked up to God. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Christian person. I'm not always, how can I say it? I wouldn't say I'm the biggest religious person, but, I looked to God, kept praying on it. I always stay myself, stay humble. And that's one thing I learned too, was to always just be yourself. Throughout everything, you're gonna go through tough trials, good times. Always remain yourself because, being yourself is more rewarding than, falling to the expectations of somebody else or a society, I would say.
No, absolutely. And I can directly attest to
Yeah.
your attitude during that whole experience. I know you had bad days. Like, I'm sure there were days where you're like, man, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, why this happened? But I honestly never saw you down. I never saw a day where you were upset. I never saw a day where you were like, why me? Like, it was never that vibe. And I appreciate that as your teammate. Like, you never made it about you. You wanted the team to have a good season. You wanted the team to win. And that's powerful, bro, because that not only is a testament to your character as a person, but just like, how to lead. You were leading in that role, and even though it wasn't on the court like you had been doing, you were still making a big impact on that season.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you for that, Doug. That really means a lot coming from, you being my teammate and just the person you are.
No doubt, bro.
I appreciate that.
Now, I want to. So, you touched on it. You touched on it. Obviously, you had some struggle with it early on, but then you kind of got to the point where you realized, life is bigger than basketball, and even though basketball is such a big part of your life, this injury wasn't going to hold you back from doing what God had created you to do and be successful and be a great person in life. So what was your main motivation to get back on the court? What was your main motivation to push through this injury and go in the right direction?
My main motivation was just just to get back playing, really. I mean, I was missed playing with you guys. I was missed playing with my teammates, missing the game. The season was going so well. We were really a contenders for the conference championship. So I was really just wanting to get back out there, play with my guys, and just play the game I love. And I mean, really so much time you take off working back to, getting your knee back right, all the days of therapy, even the days you don't want to go. I just want to make it all pay off. So
No doubt.
that was really my motivation to get back to it.
And I loved it. Like, I honestly enjoyed, we had some conversations throughout the process, but I just enjoyed watching you from afar, just seeing you go from, the surgery, to doing the rehab. I remember, it's kind of funny, but I remember seeing you you would sit in a chair after practice and you do form shooting. And you have a manager rebound. You're literally your legs in like a cast or in a brace, and you're sitting there just in a chair, like you literally just want to do something. Yeah. And that's cool, man. Like you can see that's a genuine passion for this game, and that's what's gonna take you so far, bro.
Yes, sir. The chair shooting, stuff like that, I already knew I had to keep my game, at least do something to keep it up to date, polished. So, even on the side, while you guys were practicing, I'd probably have a heavy ball, just dribbling, just working on my dribbling, fingertip dribbling, stuff like that. The chair shooting, I would do that after practice. At least something to keep me updated with basketball. I had to always work on my game. I felt like if I didn't work on my game, I would be doing myself a disservice. Even if I was hurt, really, there's no excuses. I see a lot of people that's disabled that do things that people think they can't do. So I always felt like there's always something to do to improve on yourself. And don't always take a shortcut. Don't always take that back seat. You should always, fulfill your potential and try to,
absolutely
do something to make it happen.
And you were putting the time in. There's no let's not beat around the bush. Like, you were actually putting the time in to get yourself back on the court. And I was so excited to see you play this year.
Oh, yes, sir.
So let's talk about that. We just finished up junior season for you. You were still kind of not battling the injury, but still recovering at the beginning of the year, and then you got that information from your doctor. Talk about that feeling, being able to get cleared and be on the court again.
Oh, yeah. The process to, getting back was pretty tough because, people that's been through the ACL injuries just in general, it's like your therapy is just you doing the same thing over and over again, the same little things over and over again, over and over. So throughout the process, you can get bored. Some days you can just think like, man, I don't even want to go. I just keep doing the same thing. Like, I don't even think my knees getting stronger, like my quad, like them muscle groups are getting stronger. So then finally, when I'm back to like squatting and running and stuff, I just knew I had to take advantage of all that time, all the extra lifts me and Coach Browner went through. Shout out to Coach Browner. All those extra lifts, stuff like that, I had to take advantage of it because once the time comes and I'm back on the court, all that work that I was putting in is going to pay off once I'm back out there. So, when I went home around Christmas break, it was exciting to get that information. I think me and my mom went to the doctor. I did the little function test, and then once I passed, me and her just looked at each other and started smiling. Like,
oh, man.
It was just like, a sense of joy, just happiness. Like, I'm finally back. I can finally play the game I love, full court, like with no restrictions. So it was happy to, get that message. But then it really just motivated me. Like, now I just got to kill the opportunity.
I love that, man. That's special, and that's exciting for you. And to be honest with you, as I kind of take a step back and look at your progression through this season, take statistics out of the picture and not even looking at stats. I think you were playing your best basketball in your college career at the end of this year. Oh, yes, and you look at the moves you were making on the court. I think you're one of the most skilled players I've ever played with. The way you can put a defender on an island and get your shot off and create your own shot at all three levels, I think is something that sets you apart. And that's skill. And I think you look at that, you put the time and you got your body right, and you're able to still look like that at the end of the season. I think it's going to be scary, to see what's next for you.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. What's coming next,
Let's talk about it. What's next? What's next for you, Cam? Are you going to the league? Or are you going? What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. Nah. The plan is to play, professionally somewhere, play professionally, make money throughout the game. I'm going to keep working towards that. The recent coaching change with Coach Prosser, all the coaches leaving and going to Winthrop. So I decided, explore my options, enter the transfer portal this year, see what schools are talking about, what schools are interested in me, how can I fit in different people's systems, just to explore my options and, take a new journey somewhere.
I love it, man. I'm not even going to pry into your personal business. I know you'll make a great decision, and I know God will lead you, where you need to go. And so that's exciting. And, I always got your back. Ambition of Mine always has your back.
Oh, yeah, always. AIM fam.
AIM fam. That's facts. You got the love here. So,
yes, sir.
Man, I just appreciate you being on the show today. This has been a super fun episode. You have embodied ambition in mind, the way you live, and overcoming what you did. Because not a lot of people can say, I mean, I was even thinking about it personally. If I'd have gone through what you did, it'd have been tough.
Oh, yes, sir.
And that's probably an understatement. It's probably not the right word. Tough's probably not the right word for something like that.
Yeah.
But Cam, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. You're my guy for life, bro, and I wish you the best.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me on the show, Doug. You know, I love the AIM fam. I love the AIM movement, you know, spreading positivity throughout these messages that you're showing on Instagram, in person, you know, the gear. I just love the message you're spreading because it's spreading positivity. It's showing people that, you know, even physically, you don't have to have the attributes to do something, but it all starts mentally.
Yep.
It all starts mentally with what you want to do. You know, I want to say, like, throughout my injury process, all that, it wasn't physical. It wasn't physical because, you know, my knees and the big cast, stuff like that. I'm going through, you know, physical, think of a word. Let me think. I'm going through these physical obstacles. Yeah. I'm going through the Pause that. Hey. I'm going to stop right there, because you're going to edit it. I'm going through all these physical obstacles, you know, with the knee, meniscus, stuff like that, but it all started mentally. Like, if I didn't tell myself mentally and train myself, oh, I don't need to worry about my knee, I'm going to be back 100%. I'm going to, you know, crush all the little obstacles that leads up to me getting back, as in rehab, working out, extra lifts, extra stuff on the side. Then I wouldn't be who I am right now. So it all starts mentally, and I want to say always just be you. You know, you don't have to compare yourself to your peers. You don't have to compare yourself to other people, like their accolades. Everybody's timing is different.
Yep.
Everybody's timing is different. It's really not a race. Like Nipsey Hussle would say, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So everybody's timing is different. Always be you, and you know you'll reach that goal.
I love it, bro. You said it. Sir. You said it, man. It starts in the mind. It's the mentality. Everybody's running their own race.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much, Kam Gibson, everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Dad.
Yes, sir, brother.